Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back to the Sports Desk Live here on YouTube. We definitely appreciate you guys taking the time to watch the latest episode of the weekly Jacksonville Jaguars matchup show with Mr. Mood and James Rashad Robinson. I am Dedrick L. Hicks Jr., one third of your sportsologist. I am merely just the moderator here to contribute to the conversation of the hometown Jacksonville Jaguars. What's going on, Shad?
What's up, man? I think you need to give yourself a little more credit than that, man. You more than a moderator. You make this thing flow.
Contributing to
Make
the
the whole thing
conversation.
flow, man.
Contributing to the conversation.
Yeah,
Contributing,
yeah, yeah.
contributing.
Big contributor.
Just contributing. Just contributing. All right, my boy. All right, man. So how before we get into it, man, how was New Orleans, man? How was New Orleans?
Man, New Orleans was fun, man. The people in New Orleans always a good time, though. It's always the same thing. You go walk down Bourbon Street, you go see a bunch of things, man. We came out with a win. You know what I'm saying? Duval showed up. You know, there's a lot of Jaguar fans in New Orleans, man. We had a good time. Like I say, the stadium, it's one of the livest stadiums I've ever been in.
I was about to ask you that. How was the atmosphere in there?
Listen, it was not sold out, but it was still loud. And when I left out of there, I had a headache. And I said, there's no way I could come to a game here when it's sold out and the Saints are actually a really good football team. It's no way. I couldn't. I wouldn't be able to. I would have to go in that game with earplugs. It's loud in there. It's very, very loud.
Yeah. That dome action, man. That dome action sound. The sound doesn't travel very far. So
right.
That's what's up. All right, man. So let's go ahead and get into it, Rashad. Last week, the Jacksonville Jaguars picked up the W, 31-24 over the New Orleans Saints, improving their record to 5-2, 4-game winning streak, first in the AFC South, top 5 in the AFC. Charles, let's get into it, man. How'd you think about last week's game?
It's a victory. I think they jumped out on them, and I think the defense, the defense played good the whole game. They got a little tired at the end. Some questionable calls by Doug Peterson going forward and things like that, putting them in bad situations, allowing the game to be that close. But the score was not indicative of the game. The Jaguars dominated that game.
Yeah.
From start to finish, they really did. And in a couple of key situations, they didn't convert on some things that it gave the Saints short fields, and they was able to capitalize and make the game close. But the Jaguars dominated that game. For some reason, we had times where we would start slow, and now we're starting fast. But in the middle of the games when we were actually playing well, now you can't score. I mean, from the middle of the second to like through the third, you're not doing anything on offense. That third down, I think we only had like 10 plays in the third quarter, period. Like, you might have had like 5 yards in the third quarter. So, but overall, it's a win. You know, it's a win. Trevor gutted it out. He had a really good game. So yeah, win.
For me, the recap of the game was without a doubt, without any conversation, Trevor Lawrence assumed sole leadership position of the Jacksonville Jaguars. To come in and know about this knee, you start the game, you see that brace. After the game, you do hear of the difficulties that Trevor had getting the leg and the knee loose enough to even get through warmups. Now he said there was no question that he was going to play, but what I'm sure that did for that locker room is ignite the belief more and more in Trevor. Gutsy performance, especially with the big runs. I think he was the leading rusher of the night for the Jacksonville Jaguars. So to me, yes, great win from the Jags. Yes, they got out to a fast start. The defense overly performed as they have been doing all year, in my opinion. But for me, the takeaway was from the leadership, the poise, the smarts of Trevor Lawrence to go into the Superdome. We got to call it what it is. The Saints, they're a middle of the pack team in the NFL. Middle of the pack don't get you anywhere in the NFL. So that's what they are. But they came in with a solid veteran defense with some big playmakers on the other side of that ball, and the Jacksonville Jaguars just looked at them and said no. So, no, you're not going to win tonight. Big win for the Jags, but my takeaway and the recap of last week was Trevor Lawrence assuming sole possession leadership of that team. All right, y'all, let's get into it. What are we, week 7?
No, week
Week
8.
8? We are in week 8. That's right. Jaguars 5-2. Week 8, we are rolling into Pittsburgh, a.k.a. Everbank Field North, where the Jaguars have won plenty of games out there in Pittsburgh. So, Rashad, let's go ahead and get into it, man. Jags, Steelers, key matchup on offense.
Jags receivers versus that garbage secondary that Pittsburgh has. I'm gonna be very disrespectful in this episode. I just want y'all to know that.
Okay.
It's very personal when we play the Pittsburgh Steelers to me.
Okay.
And I'm really get tired of like the disrespect online with Steelers fans.
Yeah.
I listened to a lot of Steelers stuff this week, and they were saying just the most ignorant things. It's like you're not even watching the games. Jaguars receivers versus that garbage secondary is the key matchup for this game on offense. They are awful. Except for Joey Porter Jr. The rest of that, you can throw it all in the trash. The only thing that can scare you on their defense is their 2 defensive ends, their linebackers, their rushing linebackers. Cole, Holcomb, and TJ Watt, of course, future Hall of Famer. I won't be disrespectful to him. He a hooper.
Absolutely. Big time.
But the rest of that junk, you can throw it all in the trash. That defense is horrible. They've been giving up 142 yards a game rushing. They're giving up like, I believe, 290-something passing. They're awful.
Yeah, they're awful. They're awful. Overall defense 25th in the National Football League coming into week 8.
Yeah, and you look at the teams that they beat. You look at the Baltimore game. They beat them really on some fluke stuff.
17-10.
Baltimore was in well control of that game. You had a pick, you had a fumble, you had a block punt, you had a lot of different things. The reason why they beat that team. The rest of the teams they beat this year were all terrible teams. But yeah, you just looking at a team that I just don't think is good at all on defense or offense. But especially on this defense, they can be run on, they can be passed on. You can do whatever you want to do against this team.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you're right. I mean, looking at it on tape and looking at film and looking at all the stuff that we have access to, you look at the Steelers and it just doesn't appeal. They don't look appealing in any way. Love Joey Porter Jr. He's going to be a problem in this league. He's going to develop to be a very nice player over time. Like you said, TJ Watt, future Hall of Famer, pound for pound, quote unquote, best defensive player in all of football. Just depends on who you're talking to. But this Steelers fan base is what they are. And the chirp and the chatter coming out of there, they are NFL royalty. And their fans feel like they can say what they want even when they shouldn't be talking that loudly. So the defense is for the Jaguars to do what they want. And these wide receivers should have, I don't want to say easy, but they should have no problem consistently getting open against what this secondary is going to face. So I agree with you. Now we're going to miss Zay Jones yet again. I was watching the Doug Peterson press conference on Thursday before the Jaguars flew out. And from what I understand, he's saying this is more of a precautionary sit for Zay, that if this was the playoffs, Zay Jones could play. So that gives me some hope that they have the opportunity to let Zay recoup, take his time, and then come back when he's ready, because I didn't know that he rushed back 2 weeks ago. He didn't have to come back as soon as he did. But you still got Ridley. You got NTN coming out the backfield. You got Christian Kirk. You got Big Ingram. Listen, the Jaguars have enough to overly expose this defense. So I agree with you. The Jaguars wide receivers, they shouldn't have much problems at all getting open against the secondary.
No. All you got to do is block the ends, and you can do whatever you want to do.
Now that might be
Don't let
easier
TJ
said
Grant.
than done. That might be easier said than done.
Yeah, it is. It's easier said than done, but I think it can be done. Key matchup on defense. Stop Najee Harris. I mean, Najee Harris hasn't done anything this year, and again, I don't need the Jaguars to be the medicine. They wasn't the medicine last week. What I was talking about, they're not going to be the medicine this week either. I forgot what the little speedy running back they have. I forgot what that guy's name. He's better than Najee Harris. He actually needs to start over.
Okay.
Number 30. I can't remember what his name is, but he needs to start over Najee Harris. He's a better running back right now. Najee Harris, I don't know what's wrong with. I don't know what's wrong with it. I don't know if he need LASIK or what, but he can't see. He's not hitting holes. He's not breaking tackles like he used to. I don't know what's going on with him, but you stop the run and you put this game in Kenny Pickett's hands and you'll get a bunch of picks. That's what's going to happen. So stop the run, stop Najee Harris. Don't let him get going. He has been a very good running back in the past. Don't let him get going, and you'll be able to do what you want to do on your defense also.
Yeah, Jalen Warren, running back for the Steelers.
Yes.
He is the second back in command behind Najee Harris. And listen, the Steelers, they're one of the more unpredictable teams. I'm going to say, why the Pittsburgh Steelers are 4-2, second in the AFC North. They got a winning record. And listen, when it comes to winning games in the National Football League, hell, by hook or by crook, you get your wins and you move on. You move on and let the critique and the overanalyzing be left to people like me and Rashad and everybody else who covers sports. But you get a win and you move on. And that's what the Steelers, led by Mike Tomlin, that's what they're doing. So I'm not going to lie to you. When I look at the defense with the Jaguars defensive line and Najee Harris, I just don't see how the Pittsburgh running game, traditionally running Najee up the middle, single back cut up to the right, I don't see how that's going to work. But this can work with the pitches to the outside. We see the Jaguars be a little quick to fall for the bait. Shotgun, RPO plays. We've seen them kind of fall for the bait on that. So I got to imagine that they're going to try to mix up the offense by watching film. I could be wrong. Mike Tomlin and his staff may say, no, we're going right up the gut. We're going to force our way downfield and see if we can catch him slipping with Kenny Pickett over the top. I just don't see that happening, though. So the Jaguars D-line and the linebackers, they should be able to corral around this offensive line, confuse Kenny Pickett, really put the running game to a stop. I think we're starting to get past the bend, but don't break thing. We're 8 weeks into the season. How much more time do we need to see the Jaguars to say, okay, this is an all-around elite defensive group? And they're led by this defensive front seven, starting with that defensive line. So I definitely like what the Jaguars potentially can do to shut down Najee Harris and make Kenny Pickett throw 40 times. And if that's the case, then the whole secondary from the Jaguars will be represented in the Pro Bowl.
Listen, Kenny Pickett is throwing for 192 yards a game.
Yeah.
That's what he's throwing for.
Yeah.
192 yards. And I got Pittsburgh Steelers fans trying to compare him to Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, you know what that's about.
You
know what that's about. That's that fan love.
I have no idea what these people are watching.
That's that fan love.
They can't throw. They can't run.
Yeah.
They're winning these games on pure luck, and the Jaguars are going to blow them out.
Ooh. Okay.
They go blow them out. You got people like George Pickens saying that the Jacksonville Jaguars secondary is ran on a hope and a prayer. It's a quote. He might not make it. They might not make it.
I saw that quote. I saw that quote. I saw that quote from Mr. Pickens.
Everybody saw it, and you like, so you, again, you have the people for the Steelers media, you have the players, and they're looking at stats. See, stats are very, very fooling, because when you look at stats, it don't tell the whole story. The Jaguars have been blowing people out in the first three quarters, And they've been these people have been throwing the ball for the majority of the second half because they're getting blown out in the first half. So it skews the numbers of their passing defense. I think the Jaguars are like 29th in passing defense right now. But you wouldn't know that if you watched a full Jaguar game.
Yeah, they're actually 31st going into this league, giving up 273 yards a game.
I would love to know what the first half numbers are, D.
Right.
I would really love to know what the first half numbers are. And that's the reason why we're 4th in rushing and we're 31st in passing, because we're blowing teams out in the first half and they're just throwing the ball.
Yeah, if you know football and you watch the games, you know that you can't do the comparable stats by the whole game in the NFL, especially when you're dealing with teams who build leads and then you got guys trying to come back. That's a misleading stat. So when I see the Jaguars are 31st in the league and somebody who doesn't watch the games buys into that, then I know you're not watching the games.
Right.
I know you're not watching the game. So yeah, you got a great point there.
Yeah, you can't. You can't. And like I said, that crap George Pickens pulled, okay, you go find out. Overall feel for this game. The Jaguars have trailed one time in the last 4 games. It was when the Indianapolis Colts were up 3-0 on the first drive. Right. Other than that, the last 4 games, nobody has had a lead on them.
Right.
We are playing dominating football. And we have Steelers media talking about they need to throw the ball to Tyson Campbell's side. I'm serious, D. Like, I'm dead. No. I've been watching so much. I hate this team, D. So I've been trying my best to prepare for this, to make sure that I'm not just hearing things. No, I want to see it.
Yeah.
They said the best bet for the Pittsburgh Steelers to win this game is to line up George Pickens on Tyson Campbell one-on-one and just throw it to him. The best cornerback on the team. Just disrespect.
Yeah.
3-0 is the only lead that the Jaguars have had on them in the last 4 games. You get in a rhythm on offense early, you go bury this team. Get Calvin Ridley going early. Get him going. That secondary is awful. None of those guys can cover him. None of them. And he ain't gonna let no rookie cover him. That's not gonna happen. Get in a rhythm. Get the offense going. And this game will be over with in the middle of the third quarter.
You know, in the NFL, from week to week, you look at stuff on paper and you say to yourself, this should happen. Case in point example, when the 49ers went to play the Cleveland Browns, this should happen. Brock Purdy looks mortal. The following week, they go to Minnesota, Monday Night Football. Minnesota doesn't have a bunch of their great players. What happens? Brock Purdy looks mortal again. Vikings win. This looks like this shouldn't have happened. This is the game for me for the Jaguars going to Pittsburgh. 1, the weather is not supposed to be the best. 2, the defensive monster that is TJ Watt, you can put 3 people on him and it doesn't matter. I watched TJ Watt drop back in the coverage like he was a defensive back and pick off a quarterback last week. I then watched him wreak havoc continuously on poor offensive linemen and make quarterbacks' lives a living hell this year. Watt is going to be a problem for the Jaguars. And my overall feel for this game, it's not the secondary for the Steelers. Will Trevor have the time that he needs to keep this offense going? The Jaguars when you see the film, the Jaguars have to be in rhythm. They're not a pick your spot. We're going to do this, we're going to do that, and then we're going to let it come together offense. That's not what they are. You have to be in the rhythm. Trevor has to be going. The run game has to be going. The short passes have to be going. And then you kind of see the Jaguars kind of do their things, at least for the first half, at least. I feel like this is the biggest disruptor on defense that the Jaguars have played thus far. I do. And it's TJ Watt by himself. You watch him against the Baltimore Ravens, and you look at, well, why were the Steelers hanging around in this game? Because the offense ain't do nothing.
No.
It was TJ Watt. And when TJ Watt is in position to make things happen, then the defense catch their breaks. So the overall feel for the game for me is, would TJ Watt decide to show the world yet again, hey, I'm a first ballot Hall of Famer and I'm the best defensive player in this league? Will he decide to do that at home in front of a sold out crowd? Will he decide that he wants to do that? That's the overall feel for the game for me. So I get what Rashad is saying. On paper, when you look at it, this should be nothing for the JJs. This should be nothing. But my stomach and my head are telling me something else. Something else.
Coaching advantage of this game is very rare that I will pick a coach over my coach.
Yep.
But I will not be disrespectful.
Will not. We will not be disrespectful on this show.
The disrespect comes for the fans and the media. That head coach is definitely top 10 of all time. Like, this dude has never had a losing season in 16 years, I believe it's been.
Not one.
Do you know how amazing that is?
That's beyond
with
incredible,
all the turnover that you have in the NFL.
We're talking almost 2 decades, Rashad.
Almost 2 decades of not a losing season.
Incredible, man. Incredible.
He's a better coach.
Right.
He has the advantage with rings. He has the advantage with consistency.
Yep.
He's just a better coach. Do I think that he's like this far and away just no? I think that Doug Peterson can hold his own against a coach like this.
Sure.
But Mike Tomlin is a better coach than, I mean, if you wanted to switch them, I don't know if I would switch him just because of the Trevor Lawrence factor, and I think that the chemistry that him and Trevor have is gonna prove to be undeniable.
Okay.
But Mike Tomlin is just that dude, man. He's just that dude.
For sure. I don't really have much to add. Mike Tomlin's been a top 5 coach since he's been in the league. For 15 years, Mike Tomlin has been a top 5 head coach in the league, and there have been at least 1 year, at least 5 years where Mike Tomlin might have been 1A, 1B next to 1A Bill Belichick. Mm-hmm. Go back and look. And look. So when you mention Andy Reid and when you mention Mike Tomlin needs to be in the conversation. So I'm with Rashad. It's going to be a rare occasion thus far. I went with Andy Reid over Dougie P against the Chiefs. We saw that. And I'm going to go with Coach Mike Tomlin. And here's why. Mike Tomlin is a leader of men for real.
Yeah.
Like, for real. He's a real leader. And not just a leader of the defense. Not just a leader of the offense. He's a leader of the entire team.
Yeah.
The front office. Everything that is walking around in black and yellow up there in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, they're led by Coach Mike Tomlin.
Yeah.
I watch these interviews with these head coaches, man. There's only a couple of them that get me hyped up that I want to run through my house wall for them.
Yeah.
And I ain't on the football field, but when you hear them talk, it's the passion. So if anybody can get their team dialed in and say, hey, we see the Jaguars, man. They don't won 4 straight, but they coming up here. Let's go knock them off. And I can hear the whole room saying, yes, sir. Yes, sir. In unison, like he's a drill commander in the military. That's just who he is. That's what we know him to be, and that's what we seen. So Mike Tomlin, definitely this game, with all due respect to Dougie P, he has the coaching advantage.
Game prediction, it's going to be 33-17, and it's not going to be that close.
Oh, Jesus.
The Steelers are a bad football team with a good record. It will prove to be, over the course of the season, that they're a bad football team with a decent record right now. You will see today, you will see the difference. You will see the difference between mediocrity and greatness.
Okay.
In this game.
Okay.
This is the game before the bye. It's been 4 straight. We own the Pittsburgh Steelers in their stadium.
Yeah.
We do not get distracted by this allure of the waving yellow thing that they do. It doesn't happen. And it won't happen this time.
Right.
This is a team that's getting more healthy. Devon Hamilton is coming back.
Mm-hmm.
This is a team that on defense is on fire. Kenny Pickett will throw 3 interceptions in this game.
Okay.
And it will be 33-17, but it'll be 33-10 or maybe 7 going into the fourth quarter.
Wow. Okay.
This is not going to be a game. That's a bad football team. On both sides of the ball, they're bad. They're bad on defense and they're bad on offense. They're terrible. And they've been beating on bad teams. And they beat, I don't know how, I went back and watched that game last night, D. The Steelers and the Baltimore Ravens, because I was like, what in the heck happened?
Yeah.
And I'm looking at the game and I'm like, boy, the next time they play them, they might hang 50 on them. They had dropped touchdown. They had 2 dropped touchdown passes in that game, D. 2 of them. Block punt, interception at the end of the game. Just fluky mess. It's not going to happen. It's going to be a domination from the word go. This would be a game where if you got a nice drink in your hand at 1 o'clock, you'll be able to sip it real slow. You'll never have to take your gulp because it'll never be in doubt. 33-17 Jaguars.
Well, I'm on the other side of the street with my prediction for this game. I totally agree with you with the conditions of the Pittsburgh Steelers currently. I totally agree with that. But I do think that this is going to be a close football game. I do see TJ Watt, Joy Porter Jr., the front 7 of the Pittsburgh Steelers, really making some critical plays on defense against this offense. Now, can Trevor Etienne and the running game of the Jaguars really get going to create some off balance? That's going to be something that could really open this up for the Jaguars to win 33-19, but I'm just not so sure. And my gut is telling me the Jags will win. They will win, but they will get out of that stadium by the skin of their teeth. I'm going to take the Jaguars 21, the Pittsburgh Steelers 20. Tight ball game. Mike Tomlin and his brain trust on the defensive side, they are going to have something in store for Trevor. How mobile is Trevor? Is Trevor even more improved against New Orleans? What will be the game plan to protect Trevor as the Jaguars get ready to go into this bye week, awaiting the darling matchup against the 49ers here in the bank? I think the Jaguars may get caught looking ahead to the bye week. They might be feeling themselves. 4 straight wins haven't been done since 2016. Coming off a high 10-day layoff. There's a lot of things there that can create maybe a little bit of more trouble than the Jaguars are anticipating against a Mike Tomlin coach team. And maybe, just maybe my admiration for Mike Tomlin and what he's capable of is overseen because I've seen what happened to the Baltimore Ravens, who were pretty good themselves. This will be a fight. I believe Trevor will show yet again when it matters, he will ascend and continue to rise. Gets the Jaguars in field goal range. Late Brandon McManus field goal in the fourth quarter does end the Pittsburgh Steelers. Jaguars improve to 6-2, and they head into the bye week. I got the Jacksonville Jaguars 21, Pittsburgh Steelers 20. And hey, everything you said, Shaw, could very well happen. Pickett could throw 3 picks. The defense the offense for the Steelers could just be absolutely atrocious, but Trevor can't give the ball up on his side. We can't fumble. Weird things happen up there in Pittsburgh, and we've seen it. Just weird stuff happens. So I get the disrespect from the Pittsburgh media and the players of the Steelers, but my gut is telling me that our eyes will be glued to this thing from kick to start until Brandon McManus kicks it again to win it, but the Jaguars do survive. They do survive. Okay, let's win some money with the sports stats. All right. So here each and every week on the weekly Jacksonville Jaguars matchup show, we talk about what Vegas is saying, and then we go from there. Let's go ahead and get into the total points, Shad. Over under 41 points on this game. What are you talking about by your score? You're saying this does what?
It's going to go over. The Jaguars might score 41 themselves.
What is so personal for Rashad?
No, I'm serious, man. That team is garbage, D.
4-2.
They bad. They got a bad secondary, and they can't stop the run. They like last in the league in stopping the run.
Okay.
With a bad secondary.
I got you. So you got this going over 41.
Yes.
Okay. I have it barely going over by 1 point. Well, actually, I have this. No, I have it according to my score. I have it graying out. I have this graying out. So if I was a betting man, I would stay away from the over-under on this game due to my score. All right, due to my score. Let's go to the point spread, man. Virtually almost a pick'em game. Jaguars are 1.5 point favorites on the road at Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is a plus 1.5. So we're virtually on a pick'em type game. The country is leaning 56% for the Jaguars and 44% for the Steelers. So it's starting to catch up. All right, Rashad, obviously, point spread. You got the Jaguars absolutely annihilating this.
This is not going to be a game.
This is not going to be a game, according to Mr.
At
Movement.
any point in this, I'm going to put it like this. When the Jaguars get up by 10 or 14, it'll never be that close again.
I hope you're right. I hope you are right. So yeah, I'm with taking according to my score, take Pittsburgh plus 1.5. Take Pittsburgh plus 1.5. Jaguars get the win, but with the Jags winning by 1 point, take Pittsburgh 1.5. Last but not least, we've already covered money line. Jaguars are minus 130 to Pittsburgh's plus 110. The bets on this are heavy on the Jags. 72% money line. America is rolling with the Jacksonville Jaguars, 28% for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I got to think that 28% is all the people who live up in Pittsburgh going with that game. All right. So if you decide to put a little money on your FanDuel or your Prize Picks or your Bovado or Bet Onlines or MGM Grands, whatever you decide to try to make you a couple dollars on, if you hit something by listening to the Sports Desk Live, let us know. All right. Shoot us a holler down in the comments and see if you was able to cash you a couple of coins. Listen to the Sports Desk Live. All right. Rashad, any final remarks, man, before we get up out of here, man?
I hate the Pittsburgh Steelers. I hate their fans. I hate the city. I hate everything I hate the ticket distributors. I hate the Pittsburgh Steelers. And it's going to warm my heart to beat their ass on national television. Because I hate this team and I always have. Because they always are totally disrespectful. The same way they've been this week.
Oh,
and
man.
George Pickens, you go find out about that hope. That hope secondary you keep talking about, you go find out about it on Sunday.
Sure is. Yeah, I don't have anything to add. I mean, my man is fired up. He got me fired up because of it. The energy is real. I mean, I think outside of the division, outside the AFC South, the Steelers are the top rivalry for the Jaguars just in the historic nature of this franchise, especially in the earlier 2000s with the Jaguars.
Early 99, we used to be in the same division, D.
Right. So, like, when the Jaguars, which 2023? So we're talking 2 decades ago when this thing really got kicked off. So then when the realignment happened, you don't get this matchup as often. In my opinion, the Jags and the Steelers should play every year. Like, in my opinion. I mean, just based off the historic value. Oh, let me ask you something. No, wait, that'll be when we come back. I ain't gonna do it. I ain't gonna ruin it because this is about the Pittsburgh Steelers. But so we hope you guys enjoyed another week of the weekly matchup of the weekly Jacksonville Jaguars matchup show. 1 o'clock kickoff on CBS. Gonna look forward to seeing how the game plays out. Hopefully the hometown Jazz can go ahead and get another W, get to 6-2, get to the bye week, and then we prepare to welcome in the 49ers to the bank in just 2 weeks. All right. So remember, man, like, comment, and subscribe. If you like what you're seeing, if you like what you're hearing, share the show, spread the show out, man. Tell the sports fans out there who want a different take to catch something new from a new sports brand here on YouTube that are establishing themselves and working day by day, week by week to improve their product. All right. So give us a subscribe, give us a thumbs up, man. Show us some love for sure. All right. So until next time, it's your guy one more time, Mr. Dedrick L. Hicks Jr., 1/3 of your sportsologist.
Yes, sir. And I moved them chains, and I cannot wait to beat it up on the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I can't wait to talk about the recap of this game the next time y'all see us, man. So y'all be cool. Y'all be safe. Y'all take care of yourselves. Appreciate everybody for watching. Y'all know how I go here.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You're going to hear a lot of that again.
Yes, sir. Go JJs. All right,
Yes,
y'all be
sir.
cool, man.
Go Jags.